Thanks for taking the time to learn how to submit your budget on MyBC. I'm going to walk through the steps with you right now. If you have any questions, feel free to contact the Student Programs Office at 617-552-3480 during normal business hours, or you can email spo@bc.edu. The first step in the process is obviously to log into MyBC, which is simply bc.edu/MyBC. That will bring you to the Boston College login, where you can enter your username and your password. That's your BC username and password. Once you're logged into the system, you'll be brought to the community homepage. To go to your organization, click on the Organizations tab at the top. You can see that I'm a member of many organizations and even some different umbrellas here. But you're going to want to go to your organization to enter your budget, and I'm going to go to TT at BC, which is our training and test organization. You'll see that this brings you to your main page. At this point, you need to be either an officer of your organization or an administrator. If you're not one of those things, talk to your organization president to make sure that they make you one. Once you are either an officer or an administrator, you will see this Treasury button over here. Click on the Budgets link, and that will bring you to your budgets page. So there's nothing submitted here yet, so we're going to create a new budget. So click on the New Budget button. That will bring you to the budget screen. First off, you should read these instructions pretty carefully. I will go through most of them with you today, but some of the biggest changes that you'll notice from the submission process previously is these three broad categories we're going to force you to put things into. So the first is events and programs. These are things that you do externally, kind of the activities of your organization that are external, kind of similar to the event budgeting process we had before. And then you're going to move on to operational expenses. So these are what your organization needs to function, sort of your overhead type expenses. These are all internal typically. And then travel expenses, if you happen to go travel for any particular reason, whether it's, and these are members travel. So not bringing somebody to campus, but bringing your members out to other places, conferences or what have you. Just a reminder to be as explicit as possible, to provide as much detail as possible is probably most helpful. The first thing to do is to change your budget name. So you can include your club name, that would be great. And then also include whether this is a primary budget or a secondary allocation, or if it's an appeal. So the first thing to do is to enter your budget categories. The first category I'm going to go through is programs. So programs or events, these are by event. So this is kind of the same process you've had before. You just enter the information based on a particular event. So if we're going to have a barbecue, then you can select the items. So let's say we have a DJ for the barbecue, and this is for music, and let's say it's $300. And then the next thing you're going to do is add a budget item by clicking the arrow down here, and then select another budget item. So let's say publicity, we need to print flyers and a banner maybe, and that'll be $50. We're going to need food for this barbecue, so let's say food and beverage. We want to go to Star Market, and we want to spend $500 on food. We're going to do some barbecues things, so we're going to need some BOC things like a grill, and that's $200. So you get the general idea. Basically, everything associated with a particular event gets a line item associated with it, and there are some other type miscellaneous things in there. So if we haven't captured a specific line item, you can choose the other and then be as descriptive as possible. The next thing to do is to fill out the form based on this event. So this is a barbecue, maybe a welcome back barbecue. We want 300 people to attend. We're looking at doing this in Devlin. We don't have a date yet. And then this is where you would provide as much detail as possible. And you're done. So once you've filled out the form here, you can add an additional summary if you need to. So any additional information. can be put here. And then that's it for this particular event. So we're looking at doing a barbecue. We need music, flyers, some food, a grill, kind of the basic items for the event. We've put those dollar amounts in. The total budget requested for this event is $1,050. And that's it for that particular event. So if we want to do another event, you click down here at the Add Budget Item. Just as a reminder, events need to be placed in kind of hierarchical order. So your most important event to you needs to be placed first. So that would be this one here. And then followed by your second most important event, and so on. So we're going to do another event here. And we're going to do a culture show. So for the culture show, we are going to bring in a performer. And we don't know who it is yet, but it's TBA, Big Deal Performer. And they are $5,000. And then we're going to need, because they're a big deal performer, we're going to also need security. And this is BCPD, and they're ridiculously expensive. So we'll put like $300 for them. And then there's some production costs involved. We need to bring in special lights. And they're $2,000. And then we need decorations. And this is $400. And then what else do we need? Maybe some extra sound. And that's another $400. So that's it for this event. And again, we have to fill out the same event form. So this would be the culture show. We want 500 people there. We're thinking Robsham. We don't have a date yet. And then again, this is where you would put as much detail about all the items listed. The more detail you put, the better the SFC will be able to determine whether or not these are expenses that can be funded. So again, putting as much detail as possible. And again, if you need to add even more, money, do that here. So that would be it for this event. So we're looking at about $9,100 for the culture show. And then once we're done with that event, we need to add additional items. Let's say we need to do our operational expenses now. So this is for spring 12. And you'll see a whole different list of budget items here. So let's say we want to have a retreat when we get back to campus, and it's going to be at Dover. And that's $3,000. We need some new office supplies because we ran out of everything. So that would be office supplies. We need paper and toner. That's $200. We also need new uniforms this year, and that we're just going to get from I don't know where, but you put some detail in, and that's $400. So you get the point. You'd add in all your operational kind of overhead expenses here, and again, you'd add summary, any detail you can. And then once that's done, there's no additional information required here, so that's that. And then add budget item, again, would be if you're doing more events or if you have some travel expenses. So let's say this is for a conference, and you need to go, it's a local conference, so you're just going to get some bus tickets. That's $200. And then you're going to need to stay in a hotel. And that's the Hilton. That's $700. And then you need some food while you're there. That's $50. So you've noticed I've I've added this one by mistake. I clicked this button and this extra line came up and I did that by mistake. So I just click the X, and once you click the X, it'll say, do you want to remove the item? You click OK, then that removes the item. For conferences, we have another form to fill out. So where we'll be traveling, let's say we'll be traveling to Albany. This is a conference. Who will be going? I'm going. Matt's going. And Sharon's going. And then the date of the trip is 4/1/12. Done. And then again, if you want to add a summary, this is our conference. Kind of a big deal. And that's that. So if you have more travel, again, you would go down to the Add Budget item. You would select Travel. Let's say this is for a game somewhere. Same sort of thing. Let's say you have to fly there. So this is Delta, and it's, I don't know, $800. You add the item. Let's say you need a rental car while you're there. This is $600. Let's say you need the hotel. Stay at the Hilton again, and that's $1,000. And then again, you have to fill out the same summary. So let's say this is to Atlanta. This is a game. The entire team. And this is in February 17 or 27. 12. Done. And then again, for the summary, you'd be as specific as possible. Okay, so at that point, you've pretty much got everything that you've wanted to do, everything you've wanted to submit in your various categories. So you've got events and programs. It looks like you're going to have 2 events. You have your operational expenses and you have your travel expenses. Let's just collapse them so you can see them a little bit easier in one place. So you're planning 2 travel things. You're planning a conference and you're going to a game. You've got your operational expenses for the spring. You're having 2 events, a barbecue and a culture show, and all those requested items are there. And then shows you your total request is $16,100. At this point, you could upload any documents you might have to support any of these. Again, as much detail as possible is always the best. And then you can write any additional comments you might have. At this point, let's say you forgot a number or you need to get more information, you can save and finish this later and log back in through the same process, or you could submit it. So since we're done, we're going to go ahead and submit it. That should take just a second. So the budget has been submitted. So you can see it all broken down. You have the events and programs, the 2 things you're planning, the operational expenses and your travel expenses. And if you wanted to go in and look at any of these, you could just click on those items and it shows you exactly what you requested. So you can go back to the primary budget. You can also export this to Excel if you wanted to. And again, you could leave comments or any other additional information. So if you go back, this is the original page you saw where you submitted the new budget item. You'll see your budget listed here. So this is our primary budget. It's still pending, hasn't been approved, and nothing's been paid out yet. So this is the submission that will go to the SOC for further evaluation. Once it's been evaluated, you'll see that the status has been changed to approve, your requested amount, and then whatever they end up approving for you is there. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact the Student Programs Office. That's bc.edu/SPO or SOC, bc.edu/SOC. Thanks.